Good morning. It's Saturday, April 29th. On Thursday, former Vice President Mike Pence testified for more than 5 hours to a federal grand jury investigating the aftermath of the 2020 election and the actions of then-President Donald Trump and others. This marks the first time in modern history that a vice president has been compelled to testify about the president that he served beside. And let's not forget that Mike Pence stood his ground on January 6th. He did not buckle. He stood his ground and said he was going to do the job that he was supposed to do. So Pence, before this grand jury, was going to recount for the first time under oath his direct conversations with Trump leading up to the infamous insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, which of course took place on January 6th, 2021. Also, a federal judge previously ruled that Pence could also be compelled to recount conversations when Trump repeatedly pressured him to unsuccessfully block the 2020 election results. Now, many of us watched a lot of this on TV. We watched a lot of what was going on. So in my mind, while Pence over the last couple of years has avoided talking about these episodes in his life, he at least didn't duck for cover and run and hide from this committee. He's willing to testify. He was willing to testify. He did, in fact, testify for over 5 hours. And when you look at all the others that have been called to testify and have quickly gotten help from their lawyers and whatever and avoided testifying, you can understand that Mike Pence is a stand-up guy. And I don't agree with his political views. I don't agree with his religious views. But I believe that he's a man that believes in what is right for him. And I respect him for that. And so I think he did the right thing. I think he stepped forward. And those 5 hours were very important to this country. So I would think that Mike Pence, by stepping up to testify before this committee, has in my mind enhanced his position as a possible presidential candidate. Now, I don't know if I'll vote for him. That's a whole other issue. But at least if he has the courage to stand up and tell the committee the truth of what was happening at that horrendous time in our history, then he deserves some consideration for that. Now, in my mind, Mike Pence has proved to be a stand-up guy because there is such a thing as a speech or debate clause that's in the Constitution, and that protects congressmen and senators from having to speak on any matter that occurred while they were officially on the job, so to speak. So they were protected if they made statements defending or attacking some law or some situation within the halls of Congress or within the halls of the Senate. But there's nothing in there specifically that states anything about a vice president or president under the speech or debate clause. Now, I'm sure that Mike Pence is aware of the speech and debate clause because he was a governor and he was also a member of Congress for 12 or 13 years. So he's aware of the speech and debate clause, and maybe he could have attempted to do that, but he didn't. He didn't try to hide behind that clause. And if you look at Lindsey Graham, who did some terrible things with trying to overturn the election in Georgia, he's hiding behind speech and debate, claiming that what he was doing in Georgia to get the recount, to have Georgia's election denied, was part of his job, so to speak. And he wanted to be defended by using the speech and debate clause. But the court has ruled against him, has said what he was doing down there had nothing to do with his functions in Congress and his functions in the Senate. So I don't know where that stands with respect to Lindsey Graham, but there are guys that will hide behind it and try to stretch the meaning of speech and debate. Speech and debate is strictly what you say in the halls of Congress with respect to some issue or something. You can't hide behind that in your private life or in duties that you consider governmental outside the congressional arena. Speech and debate is not about that. So Pence didn't even attempt it. He said he's going to testify, and he did testify. But prior to this, Pence declined to testify before a House Select Committee that was investigating the insurrection. And people in Trump's orbit told the committee about a heated call he had with Pence the day of the attack, in which he lobbied the vice president. But Pence didn't speak to anybody about that. But he did write a memoir. And in his memoir, he stated a lot of the issues that I'm sure the grand jury was going to ask him about. I think the basis of his testimony is probably based upon his memoir, because in his memoir he was quite clear about what was happening in that period of time. In his memoir, Pence wrote that Trump told him in the days before the attack that he would inspire the hatreds of hundreds of thousands of people because he was too honest to overturn the results of a 2020 election. Trump had the nerve to say that to Pence, that he was too honest. The man has been a crook his whole life. Why would anybody expect that he was going to be an honest president? Pence also said in his book that he asked his general counsel for a briefing on the procedures of the Electoral Count Act after he had a December 5th phone call from Trump that mentioned that he was going to challenge the election results in the House of Representatives for the first time. And Pence told Trump on December 21st that he should listen to the White House counsel team instead of his outside lawyers. But Trump shut that down. And then there was a phone call on New Year's Day where the president accused Pence of being too honest. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to hate your guts, he said. People are going to think you're stupid. To which Pence responded, I don't question that there are irregularities and fraud. It's just a question of who decides and under what law Congress is operating. And it's not yours. So I'm going to leave you with that. Pence did his job. That's what I want to say. Have a great day. Bye.